Hey there, everybody, and welcome to another Women Lead TV show brought to you by Connected Women of Influence. I'm Michelle Bergquist, your host of We're Still Coming Up for My Name. I've had either badass businesswomen, women leading the way. I mean, Eva, let's come up with something today because I'm like so excited to have you as my guest, as your host today. But we're turning things around with you. And to all of our listeners and watchers and viewers, it's like this is Eva Vennari with the Elevate Institute. We're going to have some more information about her that's streaming on the bottom. But Eva, introduce yourself and tell us how wonderful you are.
Well, I'll introduce myself, and you can decide if I'm wonderful or not based on my introduction.
All right, we'll judge. We'll be judging.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm a previously sick corporate ladder climber turned holistic health practitioner, and it's been digging my way out of that burnout phase everybody's become so familiar with during COVID. I did it before you. So now I get to help you out of it. But I'm coming to you live from London, and there's a whole story behind all of that I'd love to share.
Oh my God. And I want you to tell everybody what the big decision was, because you're from the US, you've lived in Culver City. That's how I've known you for years, but this was huge among our association of you making this big journey to London. Has nothing to do with our topic today, or I'm just joking. It actually does, but tell about why you decided to make the big trip across the pond, but on the Queen Mary 2. Why did you decide to do this?
Well, the Queen Mary 2 was because I got to leave the country in style. That's it.
That is style, I got to admit.
It was amazing. That was quite the experience. It's once in a lifetime. Gotta recommend it. But the reason, true holistic healing, it's not just about taking your supplements and eating right. It's about environment. And I noticed that being in Los Angeles was no longer supportive to my healing journey. And somebody introduced me to something called astrocartography. Have you ever heard of this?
I have not. That's way beyond my brain capacity. Can you say it again for all of our viewers?
Yeah, well, I'll break it down even. I'll do one better. So cartography is the art of map making. And astrology, everybody checks their Sunday morning paper astrology, right? So if you take the two and you squish them together, you've got your astrology plastered across the globe. And it gives you what energies of planets are pressing on you specifically, so that you can choose what kind of experience you want. And so I was looking, and Pluto is the planetary alignment that goes through Los Angeles for me. Yes, yeah. And Pluto is a very highly combustible, constantly changing, constant transformation. I don't need any more of that. I need a different kind of energy. So I was asking where can I find energies that suit me better?
Didn't you go like this? You go like this and you go, hey, wherever the wind goes. That's how I would do it.
Well, rather than guessing, I don't like guessing, right? That my whole thing is to take the supplement roulette out of the game and start making things easy to follow like a recipe. And this is another added layer to that whole mindset. If we can take the guesswork out of our decisions and be clear about them, then we're more empowered. And that's what I feel like this has done for me. So England, Scotland, all the way down Madrid, like all of that line, that vertical line for me is Jupiter. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to feel better, to feel a relief from Pluto, and to feel more creativity. And that's what I want.
See, you just stopped me when you started saying Scotland, Ireland, Spain. I was like, I'm so jealous of this journey that you're taking of just picking up and then going there. But I know when we were doing our pre-show, you were talking about how you were coming off of a cold and saying that significant changes personally can kind of lead to your body telling you so. And by the way, just because I didn't say it, our topic today, because of who you are and what you specialize in, is healthy living and wellness. Oh my. So how you're coming off of a cold, because I never, ever, hardly ever see you as not feeling 100%.
Well, yeah. And so I came up with this theory years ago that we will never find a cure to the common cold. And that's because the common cold is meant to help the body progress through its transitional changes. And it gets your body to the right frequency of where you're supposed to be, like the next step. And that requires a reset. And what better way to reset than a cold? And I'm sorry.
I don't see it as a reset, but okay.
Yeah. It's the only way out is through of having this cold. So
wow, that could get so much more detailed, and we're not going to do that, because when you go, it's going through. I'm like that and the flu. I had the flu last October for the first time in I think over 20 years. It was, and it wasn't COVID, but because I was thinking it was, but it was crazy. So I kind of get that, and I had some big changes that were going on with me last year, which makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about just, I think there's a correlation, of course. I mean, this is kind of like, yeah, duh, that there is a big correlation between healthy living and wellness for individuals, and how that kind of really segues and correlates into your professional success in business, and let's say even productivity. Do you want to kind of touch on that? Because I think it absolutely goes hand in hand, and I can always tell when I'm, feeling better, doing better, because I'm living more healthy and being more well. But what's your take on all that?
Well, it's for me, it's very obvious that the connection between our energy systems being able to handle our day-to-day productivity, but we don't just want to live in a place of default, like the smallest common denominator. We want to actually feel like we can take it to the next step. Right. And how can we do that when the body is in the way? So if I was sick all the time, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be able to do that. And I think that this being the year of so many of my colleagues reaching out to me after I made this announcement, I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be a nomad. I'm going to figure out where I'm going to live. I can't tell you how many people have said, yeah, me too. How are you doing it? I want to know. I want to follow you. I want to learn more. I want to know my mistakes. Don't, So I couldn't do this, and my colleagues couldn't do this. You couldn't do this unless the body felt supported, strong, and able. And even with a cold, I'm still doing this.
I love that. And this is the beginning of the year, so everybody's either doing resolutions or revolting against resolutions. I'm of the revolting on resolutions. I'm not going to do a single other resolution ever, but I will make a commitment. So I've decided commitments are okay this year. But yeah. What are some of the biggest things that you see clients, I guess, get into when it relates to healthy living and wellness, and what do they struggle the most with? And what would maybe one recommendation or two that you have about that? Because I see people struggle, including me, on living healthy and being well.
The biggest trap is to get entangled with the latest fad and trend, thinking that staying on top of those as they roll out is health and wellness. And I cringe. I'm like, no. We need to maintain a sense of direction that has nothing to do with the latest fads and trends, because they lead, what is it? The path of the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's it.
I thought you were going down the path from least resistance, because that's healthy living and wellness is least resistance or major resistance. But anyway, I'm sorry, I digress.
No. It's about coming back. I'm all about going to the ancient ways. If we can remember that the body heals itself, we are built in and designed in a way that if we just give the body what it needs, it can heal. And then the next obvious question is, well, how do we know what the body needs? And that's why I do the hair testing. It's like that takes the guesswork out of it entirely. So I think getting confused, there's two things going on. There's always but shouldn't I go to my doctor? Well, that depends, right? So you want to make sure that you understand how to use your traditional medicine and then how to use healing, because they are two different things. And that's the biggest thing that I guide on. It's like, if something's on, here's the best way. Here's the tip. If you're on fire or bleeding, you want to go to an emergency room, your doctor.
Okay, seriously? All right, but go ahead. Yeah, for bleeding. If it bleeds, it leads, is what we need to say, right?
Plug the leaks, right? Stop the ship from sinking. But once you're done, out of surgery or dealing with something chronic like high blood pressure, high sugar, high cholesterol, or low blood pressure, or anything that's not ideal, those are chronic conditions. that's only going to be helped with medication to prop you up for life. It's not actually going to solve the problem. So anything that you're told, oh, you have to take a medication for life, that's a chronic issue that requires healing. That's
Right.
when you move away from traditional medicine and you go towards healers.
Ooh, I mean, I've known you a number of years, and I'm always fascinated with just the wealth, and I mean this seriously, even though we're having fun, I'm just always amazed at the knowledge bank that you have inside your brain, that you just continuously know how people can shift and pivot to feel better. You know what I mean? And I mean, I do want, out of full disclosure, to let everyone know during COVID and beyond that and into now, it's like the supplements with the hair testing that you do are just magical. You think, well, are you going to feel better? Are you going to do this? It's like mine was to feel better. And it really was a difference in energy. I mean, it took a while to get there because it was a kind of an adjustment to my system with the supplements. But my gosh, to be able to just feel more clarity of my brain and my knowledge and all of that, and just feel a little bit different energy level was pretty phenomenal in my book. So just, we have your website that I know is streaming right now at the bottom, and we've had it streaming. How do you want people to connect with you if they want to know more about the hair testing and supplements and all that you do? Because I know you collaborate with a lot of people as well.
I do. I love collaboration. I don't believe that I can do this work in a bubble, and so I tend to have really great power partners who are naturopaths, chiropractors, a lot of healers, spiritual healers. So anyone who fits into that description, I would love to collaborate with. But the best way to reach me, go to the elevateinstitute.com. You know what? That website is missing the. So it should be www.theelevateinstitute.com. I'm looking at that going, why is that wrong?
That's a problem. This is what we never want me to set up the shows, is what we need to say on that one. So that's going to change going forward. I want to shift in the few minutes we have left. And first of all, thank you. And thanks for touching that. So we're going to shift. So it's theelevateinstitute.com, correct? Yes. I thought you had something misspelled, but I forgot a whole word, so I apologize for that. But thanks for pointing that out. I know on your journey across the pond, we'll say, because I love saying that. I don't know many people in the UK, so now I do with you. And on your year journey, one of the things that's changed for you this year is that you're coming on board as a women lead TV host, and I'm very excited about that. And your show series is going to be Lead Your Health. Tell our viewers just a little bit about what your show series are going to be about. I want to know, like, what's going to be the focus. I think it's going to be about health and how you can lead your health. Is that basic? I just want you to share a little bit. Okay. Well, the coffee.
Especially us, people, we're leading our lives in many ways, but this is the one area that we fail to retain leadership, and that's in our health. And I'm encouraging you to change your mind and say you can. You don't have to be a doctor in order to own your health. And this show is going to be all about those collaborative people that I mentioned a minute ago. I want to bring them on and say, what ways do you see individuals that you treat that are giving away their power without really understanding the information and being their own advisor and being their own leader, and then taking the information that they get from other healers and bringing it on board as an advisory level only. We need to stop taking doctors' advice as fact and start to question and say why. And the reason is we can end up on a multitude of medications far longer than the time it takes to get to the end of life. You could be 45 years old and on 17 medications. There's just no need for that. Wow. So take leadership of your own health. That's what we're going to be talking about, how to do that with confidence. And it's going to be along the same lines that I just talked about a minute ago. Simple, easy to follow ways to strategize. Are you bleeding, you're on fire? Go here. Is it something else? Go there. And I'll give you resources and places that you can discover for yourself, because the world of alternative medicine is so vast and so large. You need a guide. That's me.
And I think the word alternative medicine now is just, it's almost like regular medicine, because so many people are. I mean, I I've even had conversations with people where they go, I asked my doctor this question, and it was almost like the MD was, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, but like offended when the
Yes.
patient asked. And I'm really curious because that's a big one. If we're going to be encouraged to not maybe challenge, maybe ask, but what kind of recommendations would you make for people to kind of question their MDs? Because it hasn't gone well from some of the people I've spoken with. It's kind of like we sit silent, but I know we should ask those questions. How can somebody approach that while we have our minutes left?
Yeah, no, and it's a really easy strategy. If your doctor is not willing to have a conversation with you, that's your clue that it's time to find a new doctor. And how you do that is by calling up the offices before you make an appointment and asking, can I interview this doctor to make sure that we are a good fit before I waste my time and his, and see what happens.
That's good. I know there's going to be many more on your show. When is your first show, and do you have your guest booked for your first show yet?
I don't think we've picked out those dates yet.
Oh, but we have, Eva. This is so fun to have on live broadcast. But I can give you those dates when we're done. You've been on fit for a while, so we need to get back to business. And I'm just laughing. I believe we have the first quarter set. So any final things you want to share with our viewers? Because this is a start. You're going to be one of the amazing hosts of Women Lead TV. I'm going to try to get my act together for the next time so I don't misspell people's URLs. So I'll try to get that done. But hey, it's all a work in progress, right? And it's a whole new year.
Yeah, send me the questions, because there's a lot of unasked questions out there about healthcare. We don't have to sit in a void of not knowing. So send me questions. I will find the answers best that I can ahead of time and get guests on the show to help answer it.
I love it. All right. So leave us with one thing, inspirational, motivational, or uplifting and healthy before we end our show today.
And don't let what you think you can't do hold you back.
Ooh, say that again.
And don't let what you think you can't do hold you back.
And that, I think, is our show for today. So happy New Year to all of our viewers. And Eva, I will see you on another virtual meeting until you get back to the U.S. But thanks for being my guest, and good luck to you and your show as we kick off the new year. Once you get your dates down, correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, it's been a delight. Bye, everybody. We'll see you on the next Women Lead TV show.